Hello again. Welcome back to part 2 of repairing charred briar pipe chambers. Left off with having done our best with a cigar torch lighter. It burned it a little bit, not as much as you would see in a typical abuse case, but it's enough for us to make our point here when we repair that. Pretend that this is what you're normally used to seeing, which would be above the airway, often on that side here, and usually halfway around. And anyway, anybody who's seen a lot of burns knows that they're very distinctive. They're certainly not something you're going to confuse with a burn through, which is a soft spot, a flaw in the briar itself that works its way through to the outside. It's a different type of situation. A typical burn from smoking too hot is recoverable and repairable because the bowl itself is structurally sound, and all you need to do is get the chamber to stop burning, and that means fill in the cracks and build up the wall a little bit. So first thing you want to do in every case, I'm assuming most of you have some kind of collection of sanding tools. Now this is a piece of hardwood broomstick, and you just barbershop pull cloth back sandpaper. You can get it in rolls from 80 grit. This is 150 on up to 3 something. McMaster Carr is a great source for this. It keeps you from having to mess around with a pair of scissors. And this cloth backing is monstrously tough. I get a long service life out of this stuff. Cut it into pieces about yay long, and the trick is you're going to layer it on. If the bowl is, let's say, a millimeter larger in diameter than you can successfully get with this, you just put on another layer. Same shape piece, wrap it over again, and you just build it up until you're where you want to be, like so. And underneath that, by the way, notice the slot in the end. There's this soft rubber that used to be sold as mouse pads back when computers had the handheld mouse was on, had a little roller ball in it instead of a laser, and it needed to have friction to roll properly, and they sold these pads. Well, there's enough of those still in use in the world that you can still buy these pads that are about, I don't know, a foot square or a little less for practically nothing, $1 or $2. And I got an inch thick stack of those a long time ago and use them for all kinds of stuff. And one of the things, it's difficult to get the rubber to stick to wood the way you want it. So cut a slot in there and then put the rubber in and wrap it around. You can figure it out as long as you know what you're trying to do. If you don't use something slightly soft and spongy, it's going to glaze in your sandpaper is going to glaze and load up. If you leave it slightly flexible underneath, it's like self-cleaning, and you get a more reliable result. So in every case that you're going to do this chamber wall repair, you've got to get the carbon layer, what people in the pipe world call the cake, down to wood. It'll do you no good at all to, here we go, you can see the scratches a little better as well. It'll do you no good, well, actually you're going to cause some problems if you do this next procedure, you're going to see, having left a layer of cake or carbon on there, it's going to cause you problems. Do not attempt this patching, this repair process that I'm going to show you here in a second without getting the bowl back to wood. Now, and of course, some chambers are V-shaped and some are more or less parallel-sided. You're going to have to make a collection of these guys in different shapes to handle the different chamber sizes and profiles. So anyway, again, this is make-believe here. We're down to wood everywhere but that one burn spot. So now here comes the fun. This is a tight-fitting rubber glove. It's the type of thing that's used in the electronics assembly world. The loose-fitting type will probably work for this, but not nearly as well. You want something that stretches tightly around your skin. We're going to be putting a lot of pressure on this, and you don't want it to roll up and fold and tear on you. Okay. Don't use paper to mix this stuff. This is the lid of a yogurt, it looks like. Cottage cheese, yogurt, something like that. And you're going to end up throwing it away. So don't use a good piece of silverware or a plate or a saucer from your kitchen, because you'll end up throwing it out. Something that's disposable. Now we got this stuff. Sodium silicate in liquid form. It's commonly known as water glass, which is an odd, unusual sounding name for a liquid, but that's what it's known as, and you can probably find it online under that name. Sodium silicate for sure, because that's what it truly is. Notice this business about burns. It's nasty stuff. You do not want to breathe it. You don't want to get it in your eyes. You don't want to get it on your skin. It's not terribly expensive. This is a quart or thereabouts, and 33 ounces, 1,000 milliliters, and I believe it was around $20. So it's not terribly expensive. The shelf life is effectively infinite. Certainly a number of years. Okay, we're going to carefully handle this stuff. I'm going to pour a very small amount. Right in the middle of that. Now this is about the consistency, maybe just a little bit more, of motor oil, a heavy, like a 30 or 40 weight motor oil. It's going to dry. Now that it's been exposed to air, it's already beginning to set up, but it's going to happen slowly enough that we can get done what we need to do. Okay, this is activated charcoal in a super fine granulation. This stuff is ultra fine. It's like dust, and you can get the more coarse variety and grind it yourself and sift it. I used to do that, but it's a messy business and time consuming. It's far more efficient to just buy it in a pre-ground form. And then you've got your trusty rusty popsicle sticks. You can get all of this stuff on Amazon for nothing expensive going on here. Okay, about a pencil eraser sized dab of this stuff. I'm going to see if this zoom thing works the way I expect it to.